Créde, speaking of, there she is. How are you today?
Hi, Norm. I'm good, thanks. Hope your week's going
Great,
well.
great, thank you. Yes, it is. What are we talking about today?
Today is self-compassion, so a good topic for midway through the week in case anyone's week has started off badly. So I'll just jump into it.
Yeah.
So today, yeah, we want to speak about self-compassion, and this is a word or a topic that gets thrown about a lot, but a lot of people don't actually believe in the power of this. And this is coming from working with so many people on a one-to-one basis where people have the tendency to beat themselves up. They're talking negatively to themselves in their heads if they're not meeting certain standards, or maybe if they make a mistake in trading, they do something wrong. A lot of people have a tendency to, I'm just going to call it beat themselves up, but we know what that means in this context. And the irony is that actually this practice is very detrimental to high performance. So actually the people who reach the peak of success in different performance domains all have a trait, or most of them have a trait in common, and that's a growth mindset. So I'm actually going to speak about the growth mindset next Wednesday, just to go into it in a bit more detail. But just to introduce it here, it's this concept by Carol Dweck, and it's the idea that we're not born with fixed skills, and we're either good at something or we're bad at something. It's the idea that actually, if we approach a growth mindset to everything that we're trying to learn or everything that we're trying to do, then we approach it with the idea that if we're not good at something now, we can learn the skills and we can become better at it in time. And so this growth mindset is what's really important to reach the peak of your performance in trading, or even just to achieve the goals that you have in your personal life. So the idea of a growth mindset. And when you lack self-compassion, you're actually driving yourself more towards a fixed mindset. So lacking self-compassion, like we said, it's beating yourself up when you don't meet a certain standard. And I'm actually arguing that a lot of people, I think, have a kind of subconscious belief that this is somehow a noble trait or a noble practice to do, that it's a noble thing to, or an honorable thing to actually beat yourself up when you're not meeting a certain standard. And it might be a good point to check in with yourself and actually just question whether is that a kind of unconscious belief that you have. And this can come back to our conditioning. So if you think back to when you were in school or you were a child and there were certain standards that were set out by your parents or, in the school system, your teachers, and you were supposed to meet them. And if you didn't meet them, you probably got in trouble. So whatever that looked like, maybe you were grounded, maybe in school you didn't do your homework and, you got extra homework the next day or something like that. So there was some punishment for not meeting a certain standard. But the irony of that is that people use punishment in order to condition a behavior. So when your teacher, gave you extra homework for not doing it on a Monday or something, they were trying to condition the behavior that you would then do your homework on a more consistent basis. Or if your parents gave out to you for, I don't know, messing up the sitting room, they're trying to condition the behavior that you're going to be more tidy. So we learn this practice of punishing ourselves at a young age. And the purpose is actually just to condition a behavior. But most likely when we're younger, it's that because our parents don't have loads of time, maybe there's 3 kids running around, or in a school, a teacher has a class of like 30 kids. There's not the time to actually come up with a more sophisticated, refined and empowering way to condition the behavior that they want to elicit. As adults, we have the power and the choice to actually decide how we motivate ourselves and drive ourselves forward. So as we carry this conditioning from childhood, we adopt the kind of beating ourselves up as the stick to drive us forward rather than the carrot. And we think that this is going to get results. And so we just unconsciously kind of continue that behavior. So you make some mistakes in trading, you deviate from your rules, you beat yourself up, you give out to yourself, you dwell on it for the day. But actually, adopting a more self-compassionate mind frame and approach will actually help you to reach your goals better. So if you think that instead of beating yourself up for a mistake, you adopt the growth mindset, you first identify that you've made the mistake, so you take accountability for it. Then you identify what are the things I can do better next time. So where is the learning in this that I can just apply next time in order to improve things to get me closer to my goals? That's an example of self-compassion and a growth mindset. Whereas if you actually dwell on it and beat yourself up, you're expending energy that could be used in a more empowering way to bring you closer to your goals. And so it's actually counterintuitive to high performance and even to happiness if we're talking about, achieving personal goals. So I hope that I'm convincing you that this isn't just a nice airy fairy topic and, an excuse for everyone to go and sit on the couch and eat ice cream and not turn up to work, but that it's actually the practice of self-compassion is actually something that can really help you in the pursuit of your trading goals and in your personal life. And self-compassion might look like giving yourself a break. So maybe telling yourself that you understand why XYZ happened and then what learning can I take from it. And so as a really quick little challenge for today, I'm just going to challenge people to add in at the end of their trading review in a day 3 things that I did well today. So you're actually starting to promote that habit of self-compassion and giving yourself a pat on the back for things that you've done well. And then the second piece is to pick 3 things from over the course of the last year that you were really annoyed with yourself about, and maybe it's still kind of sitting there in your mind, at the back of your mind, and you go back to it every so often and you still feel annoyed at yourself. And try and reframe those instances or events through the lens of self-compassion and the growth mindset, and just see how that can shift your thinking about those events. And then if that works for you and you find it powerful, try to adopt that on a day-to-day basis in your trading and in your life in general.
Excellent, excellent words of wisdom. And about the kids, it's fitting. A very quick, funny story. About a week and a half ago, I picked my son up from school. I was going to the grocery store to go shopping. I put myself in a stupid traffic spot where I know that I was going to be stuck for a while, and for a split second, forgot he was in the back. And I said to myself, F me, out loud. And he goes, Daddy, what's wrong? And I forgot he was there. And he's, oh, it's nothing, buddy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. And he said, you're okay? I said, yes. He goes, why would you say a bad word to yourself? And I'm thinking the way that you described that, talking down on myself in that situation, and his little head couldn't comprehend why you would be down on yourself. So anyway, it reminded me of that when you mentioned that. So awesome. Thank you very much.
My son is wiser than me. He should be up here doing the talking.
He's my risk manager, so he's occupied in a different position. Thank you, Créde. Have a great week. We'll see you we'll see you tonight, right? At 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll see you next Monday for the more pre-market show. Take care.